remained so, though there was faint bruising on my right cheek, which must have happened the day before. My nose was long and straight, my dad's nose, but my smile was terrible, like I'd spotted someone across the room that I had to pretend to be pleased to see. "If it pleases your honour, this has all been a big misunderstanding," I said, into the mirror. I leaned in closer and turned my head to the left and right. My lank black hair was unaffected by a night in the cells. It was still in more or less the same style I've always worn it. A bob. To my shoulders. Though I had let Ginger cut the fringe a bit shorter recently. I wasn't sure about it, but she said it would balance out my huge shiny forehead, and she was usually right about that sort of thing. I patted my hair down 10 times on each side before smoothing it against the back of my neck. "You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, Wendy," I whispered to myself. They were my mum's words. Just as well I've never been the kind of person to put much store in looks. I left the bathroom, counting backwards from 20 under my breath to keep me steady. They put me in a small, windowless van with 3 other women and took us to Hamilton's Sheriff Court. The skinny girl curled into the front seat, raised her chin at me as I got on, so I sat next to her. "I'm Wendy," I said. "What are you going to court for?" But she didn't answer. I really wanted to tell her that these weren't my own clothes. I wouldn't have chosen a skirt for one thing, never mind pairing it with trainers. I could tell she didn't want to talk though, and to be fair, she probably thought I was some sort of criminal. So I just sat and bit my lips and tried not to think too much about where Ginger and Diane were now. When we got to the court, I was assigned a duty solicitor called Mr. Cameron. He was a small, V-neck jumpered kind of man, and I could imagine him cutting his grass on his weekends off, or going on mini breaks to do nothing in Dunkeld. He shook my hand sweatily and told me we'd be up in 5. If you've watched as many courtroom dramas as I have, you might have the idea that a courtroom is an impressive place. Dark wood lining the walls and men in wigs milling around with folders of important papers. The room they took me into was about the size of my living room, and the only people in there were me, Mr. Cameron, another lawyer sitting across from us, and the judge. It was all over in a few minutes. They charged me. Mr. Cameron said I made no plea and moved for bail. The other lawyer opposed it while they made further inquiries, and the judge said I'd be taken to Polmont prison forthwith. The judge left the room and I watched as Mr. Cameron got up and shook hands with the other lawyer. He walked back to me and said, "We'll renew our motion for bail in a week, but don't get your hopes up." "What do you mean?" "I can't go to prison. What about my house? My job? Oh, my passengers would miss me. They'd wonder where I was." "Wendy," he said, frowning, "I'm not sure you realise just how much trouble you're in. These are extremely serious charges." "But it's a misunderstanding," I said. "Look, Diane and I are both writers. We've got a long history together. Ask her. She'll tell you." He shook his head and told me he'd see me in Polmont sometime during the week. And that was it. 1 year earlier, after Mum died. Chapter 1. It's hard to imagine this now, but there was a life before Ginger and Diane. After Mum died, the most important person in my life was my support worker, so I probably need to talk about her first because, in a way, she brought us all together. Apart from work, and I didn't really count the people on my bus.